Hello, my Fire Legion, is your Fire King Renegade here, coming at you with a new What If. Now, the reason I'm not deciding, I am going to be doing my What If Deku was AMPs, because I know some of you guys have been requesting that. Don't worry, that's coming. First part of my infamous Second Son playthrough, also going to be coming. Got that edited. I've decided to do like an hour or so of that, and then I'll just chop everything up into 30 minutes or so. Well, it's really just going to be decided on however many minutes I want to decide to do. Now, they are going to be kind of shambly edited, because, again, I have Share Factory. I'm kind of waiting on some... I'm kind of doing a little research right now on computer editing software, but for right now, yeah. We're stuck with Share Factory. But trust me, guys, it's still going to be a good playthrough. But from the picture, if none of you have, if you guys have seen that anime, if you haven't, I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown of what we're going to be doing. Spoilers for the anime if you have not seen it. By the way, so this is what if Deku had Gurren Lagann. Now, Gurren Lagann is a mecha from the anime Gurren Lagann, which was piloted by Simone, which is a... Lagann is the head, and Gurren Lagann is two mechas combined together. Gurren was piloted by a multitude of people, but we're just going to have Deku because it can be piloted by one person, but we're going to be having... But the person who piloted Gurren was Kamina, the blood brother of Simone. They weren't actually brothers, but, you know, long enough bond, you consider someone your brother. So, this is going to start... Now, the way I'm going to do this is going to be a little different, but this is going to happen 20 years after Simone had defeated the Anti-Spirals. Now, the Anti-Spirals were people that wanted to wipe out people with these spiral powers. And it was a very awesome ending to the show, and I loved it, Gurren Lagann. So, the humans were still destitute to be destroyed, but Simone came up with an idea to save them. So, Gurren Lagann... So, what Simone had done was he used their underground that they were trapped in, and he tried to stop it himself, the meteor, with Gurren Lagann. He sadly failed, and his wife, Nia, became a widow, and his son or daughter, I'm just gonna have someone random, his kid became, you know, fatherless. Skip ahead, I'm gonna say 18 billion years to present day kind of human race. But Simone's drill, like the spiral piece, has been passed down Izuku Midoriya's families for generations. That's right, Deku is the great, 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 however many greats that would be, grandson of Simone, the man who defeated the Anti-Spiral Core. Anti-Spiral Core is not a thing. We're just having Deku have Gurren Lagann because I thought this would be fun, and so far, we're about to find out. So, on the day of Deku's birth, his mother gives him the drill. Because, you know, it was given to her on the day of her birth, and it's given to him on the day of his birth. It was just a tradition in their family for years on end. So, skip ahead to when Deku finds out he's quirkless. This really doesn't... I mean, he's upset, understandably, but he's not really, you know, gonna let that bring him down of not being a hero. So, alright. This is a little hard to do, but skip to middle school. I'm working on this on the fly, but yeah. So, Deku's core is always, you know, being shown. Like, he always has it around his neck. So, middle school. Like, I'm gonna say, like, halfway through. They Deku's class decides to go camping in the forest because, little history and, why not? It'd be fun. Some people were excited to go, others were not. Had to bring proper clothes and stuff. And, one night, uh, Bakugo and his crew bully Deku and throw the spiral drill into the forest. With an explosion, so Deku goes off and finds it. And, Deku falls down a hole in the ground. And Deku runs in to this mechanical face thing. Also, Deku got knocked out, so it's morning. So, yeah. Because Lagann's made of metal. Also, Deku's the only one that can operate Gurren Lagann. It's something I'm deciding. So, Deku wakes up, and gets scared by Gurren Lagann's face. He landed on the head portion, not the body. Like, he actually landed on the head. And, Deku being understandably scared, is scared. But then the head opens up and, Deku gets inclined to climb into it. Because the chair looks comfy and, he just wants to sit down in a few minutes. So he gets in, the canopy closes, and, again, Deku's kind of just looking around. And he sees this little small circle glowing. And he also did find his spiral core. And, he sees his spiral cores glowing, or as he calls it, a necklace. So Deku takes off his necklace and inserts it in the hole. And he decides to turn it, because, looks like a key. When he does, Gurren Lagann turns on. And he can see everything. And when he grabs onto the handles, everything Simone did rushes into Deku's mind. So he already knows how to pilot it. And he uses Gurren Lagann to get out of the hole. Now, Gurren Lagann can fly. It's not shown in this picture, but he has a jetpack, kind of. And, Gurren Lagann's main weapons are the glasses on his chest and the drill. Also, I'm gonna say Simone learned how to repair Gurren Lagann, so Deku knows how to do that too. Just to fill in the plot hole. Randomness. So, Deku gets out of the hole, and a villain the size of Gurren Lagann is attacking his class. And Deku, he punches the villain straight in the face. And the villain comes at Deku again, and, they engage in a fight, which Deku easily wins. I'm going to say, the way he wins is, he uses a Giga Drill break to break through a rock that the villain throws at him, and then, as he comes out, he decks him in the face. Also, he also has the confidence of Simone now. So, it's kind of, after he's seen, Simone kind of gave him a message in it. Simone basically said, you are my great whatever, however many greats you want to say, grandson. And, they had a long conversation, because, again, it felt like minutes to him, but it was only actually seconds. And, he'd said, and Deku said he didn't think he could do it, and Simone would deliver the famous line, of don't believe in me, believe in the you that believes in yourself. I know, it's confusing as hell. Kamina said it and Simone says it. And, you know, during the fight, the villain would say you can't beat me, and Deku would say two things. I'm gonna I'm kind of explaining the fight after it just happened, I know. Don't get me wrong, I kind of backtrack a bit, but basically Simone says, "Who the hell do you think I am?" And that no matter what, and he also made fun of how Gurren Lagann was a rust bucket. But he says, and he said it was impossible to beat him, and he said, "We kick logic out and do the impossible, and that's how Team Gurren rolls." And Deku, again, he trounced the villain. Also, as Deku said, Team Gurren kicks logic out and does the impossible, and that's how Team Team Gurren rolls. Gurren Lagann completely repaired itself. Was more like it just knocked off all the dust on it and rust. So yeah, in times of extreme situations, Gurren Lagann does have a repair mechanism. It takes a lot to activate it. So Deku would make Gurren Lagann kneel down, and he'd hop out of it. And Kanchan would start making. I just called Bakugo Kanchan. Why did I say that? Whatever. No, he'd say how you need a tin suit to help you out. And he'd throw a punch at Deku, and Deku would literally flip Bakugo to the ground and just, you know, they'd get into a little fist fight, and Deku would just completely trounce him. Because Simone was a pretty good hand-to-hand fighter, I'd say. Also, he looked like he could hit pretty hard. And they didn't just give him. I'm also gonna say they didn't just give him Simone's abilities. It gave him everyone who's helped pilot Gurren Lagann. So there was this Commander Vero guy. He was actually a general or commander. I think he was a commander, general. I don't know. But basically, he helped pilot Gurren Lagann. And at the end of the series, a lot of people piloted Gurren Lagann. So there's a lot of people, but the main people's he's gotten everyone's abilities like Yuki, I think it is. I don't know. Haven't watched it in a while. And he got Kamina's ability. He's got Yuki's marksmanships. She was a sniper. Um, he's just got everyone's abilities. So Deku is pretty overpowered. You know, Deku's hella smart as well because of this. You know, Deku wins fights pretty easily now when Bakugo and him fight. Skipping past the incident, everyone, they took it to the government, and the government said he could use this to become a hero. They thought it was a quirk. Deku didn't really try to refute this. He just pretended it was a quirk. He knows the truth, though, about the spiral powers and the anti-spirals and all that. But he basically just, the quirk was called symbiosis, and, you know, Deku was connected to Gurren Lagann. Deku can disconnect Lagann. Lagann is the head, that top piece, like right here. I'm gonna zoom in real quick, like there. So he can make that small and fight with it. So yeah. Um. Skip to the middle school. Sludgebill attack doesn't happen, but Deku is given permission to fly around and go Lagann. Because, you know, kind of safe in Lagann. Plus, you know, it's just you know, it's a quirk kind of, so he can't call it to him yet. but basically he has permission to fly around Gurren Lagann because they don't know Gurren Lagann can separate. Deku does, but he's just like, yeah, nah, I just keep it the way it is. He lied a bit. So, you know, Deku would fly to middle school and stuff. All Might would see Gurren Lagann flying around, and as Deku landed in the backyard of his house, All Might would approach Deku and say, "Young man, you shouldn't be using your quirk." And Deku would say, "Well, I have permission from the government saying I can use my quirk to fly to and from school." I'm going to say you have to fill out certain paperwork to be able to do this, but yeah, you can use your quirk to get to and from school, as long as your quirk does not cause massive damage. So Bakugo can't use his quirk to get to and from school. He has to walk. But the demon-winged kid, he can use his quirk to fly to and from school. Like, if your quirk doesn't cause damage to property, you can use your quirk to go to school. Like, you can use your quirk to go around, pretty much. So, yeah. Deku would show All Might the papers, and, the reason he ain't fanboying out as much is because he's the descendant of a hero that saved the galaxy, basically. So, in his mind, he's thinking he's outdone All Might. Like, Simone's outdone All Might. Like, Simone is now Deku's new true hero. All Might would ask, well, would you like an autograph on the machine? And All Might would go to sign it, and Deku would throw All Might across the yard. Like, he's like, don't you dare. He'd say, don't you dare write on Gurren Lagann. Because, Deku cares about Gurren Lagann. And All Might would be like, what the hell? Like, he's trying to figure out how he got just chucked across the room like a rag doll. Like, All Might would say, how are you that strong? Because, Deku doesn't look like he's strong, but he is. Like, he's been training and stuff, so his body is actually pretty lean. All Might would say, meet me at Dagobah Beach. And, Deku doesn't realize he's being trained 4-on-4 off, but All Might's training him. So, Deku clears the beach within 2 months of the training. Without using Gurren Lagann, by the way. Like, All Might says you can't use Gurren Lagann to help clean the beach. All Might expected it to take the full 10 months. Also, I completely skipped over the teacher doing his little thing, but fuck it, that's not important. Deku has applied for UA. Bakugo did try to tell him off, but, Deku would have beat his ass if he started a fight, so Bakugo backed off. He just told him don't apply for UA, and then backed off. And Deku was like, hell no, I'm still gonna do that shit. People call him Deku, but he's like, yeah, no. Deku ain't too useless anymore. And Deku, he does have green hair and green eyes still, but he doesn't wear green as much. Like, he looked up a custom ordered place, and he ordered a jacket that looks like Simone's. Basically, Simone's jacket has the symbol of Team Gurren on the back, so, yeah. Like, here, I'll pause and show you guys. So, yeah, this is what Deku looks like. And this is also going to be his hero outfit. Only, he's going to have, Kamina's glasses, which I will show you a picture of in a second. So, yeah, Deku will have, Simone's kind of outfit. Only he'll have a shirt under it, and he'll have Kamina's glasses when he's actually being a hero. He still has glasses, but he just doesn't wear them. So yeah, So, realizing a few things, I could have just used Gurren Lagann's glasses to show you what Kamina's glasses look like, but yeah. So, combined, Simone's So take Simone's outfit, take Simone, put a shirt on him, and Carmina's glasses. That's what you get. Deku's also going to have a gun that fires rubber bullets. He's going to have two. One's a pistol, the other's a sniper, because, again, Yoko uses a sniper. You know, marksman. Anyways, moving on. So, for the next 10 months, they train in hand-to-hand combat, and Deku, for the, remainder of the time, they train in hand-to-hand combat and working Deku's muscles out even more. And, All Might sees Deku isn't no slouch in fighting or anything. So, on the last 3 months, he decides to reveal one flaw and tell Deku this is what he's been training him to use. And since Deku sees All Might is entrusting him with a secret, he decides to entrust All Might with his secret, that Gurren Lagann isn't a quirk, and, he explains everything. And All Might's mind is blown, like Deku's was. And All Might would revert to Small Might. Like, Deku has seen Small Might, but usually he's should try to stay All Might as much as he can, but he reverted to Small Might because he just kind of like got his mind blown. And Deku's just sitting there being like, "You okay, All Might?" And All Might would realize, okay, so this kid's actually quirkless, and he's just using something that his descendant, his ancestor used to save the galaxy. So he's thinking like, this kid can be a great #1 hero. Because he's coming from someone that because he's a descendant of someone that saved the galaxy. So, he tells him to eat this. Deku receives all four, Jesus Christ, 1-4. And Deku can use up to full cowling 20%. And the anime where I am at right now, Deku can only use it to send out short bursts of air pressure. And 20%, like a 20% air pressure shot. But I'm going to say Deku's body is trained enough where he can use 20% full cowling for long periods of time. And Deku has 2 pistols as well, not 1. I forgot to mention that. So, Deku's got a little bit of John Wick in him. Gotta make him as overpowered as we can, guys. Because I do like having Deku being overpowered. It's fun. So yeah, UA entrance exam comes up. He doesn't... He's not permitted to use Gurren Lagann during the UA entrance exams. But, Deku did explain... Like, Deku pretended to discover something new about his quirk. That it enhanced his strength. Like All Might. And the doctors would see, like, okay, so his quirk isn't just... So, they would reclassify his quirk as, like, a symbiotic quirk with strength enhancement. And, the doctors would be like, okay, so his quirk's got more than meets the eye. So, Deku, he'll go full cowling 20%, rush in, and he will destroy robots left and right. He's fast and full cowling 20%. And Deku did figure out the air pressure thing, so he uses that against some of the robots. Basically, this Deku's kinda OP'd, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, welcome to the OP Deku segment of this, guys. Deku is overpowered in some of my what ifs. Others, he's above average. He's powerful but not overpowered. There's one other what if that I'm going to be doing where he'll be overpowered, and you guys will see that when it comes out. But in the comments down below, if you guys like to guess, like, whoever gets it, I will like your thing so you know if you got it. I mean, yes, Spawn is overpowered too. But yeah, anyways, back to the story. So, you know, Deku's running around destroying robots, and 0 Point would show up. He hears Uraraka, you know, yell for help. Deku will rush in, and bam. So Deku destroys the 0 Pointer, saves Uraraka, and, goes home after that. He's sitting there waiting for the results. He also sits by Gurren Lagann a lot, like on top of the shoulder. So, like, kind of here-ish, like, when I'm trying to zoom in, like, there. Or he'll sit in the canopy with it open. He's sitting in the canopy right now with it open, kind of with his feet up, just looking. No. His mom would come out and say he got an acceptance letter, and he'd go to his room to open it. And they decided to move his room down to be, like, close to the backyard so he could go to Gurren Lagann. Him and his mom decided to do. And they were fine, and she was fine with that. Deku, see he got accepted, and he'd be happy. He'd also be amazed that All Might's there. And he got about, I'm gonna say, 85 villain points and 45 rescue points. Deku is first. Well, yeah, he's first. So a week passes and Deku's going off to school in Gurren Lagann. Like, he walked there because he was at the beach. Like, they didn't realize it was one of those days. Like, Deku had walked to the beach and stuff, since he was always training with 1-4. And he does know parkour, so he'd use 1-4 to parkour around as well. And he did get permission to use it to do that. So he has paperwork to fly with Gurren Lagann and parkour around. He decided to fly to school with Gurren Lagann, because you don't know if you ever need it or not for this, since it's part of his quirk. Hypothesis. People think it's part of his quirk, it's actually not. So yeah, they get there, and Deku would, he lands, like, on top of the roof, because that's where the school permitted him to land. And a lot of people would be wondering why that's up there. And, Deku, he'd be chilling. Like, he'd go down to class. He's got his coat on. Like, basically, he's got the school uniform on. He doesn't have the school coat, though. He has his own coat on for that. Like, the coat and his glasses, they fold up. Like, the glasses kind of, like, would just fold up, and they're, like, one of these, like, so, like, he has those in his pockets. And the glasses are strong and durable, so they don't break easily. You would need a All Might kind of punch to break them, or a Bakugo explosion. Like, 100% Bakugo explosion to break them. So, Deku's fine. Their glasses will be fine. He walks in class, Bakugo's sitting with his feet on the desk. And, he'd see Ida yelling and he'd be like, okay. And Ida would look over and see Deku isn't wearing the school regulated coat. And then he'd go off on Deku. And Deku would say, listen, I understand I don't got the school regulated coat on. There's nothing in the rules saying you can't wear your own school coat to school. And then Ida would say wrong, because his old school you had to wear the regulated coat or you would get in trouble. And then he'd pull out the rule book, he'd look through the school code of clothes conduct, and he'd see that there's no rule like that. He'd be like, oh. And he'd then apologize for mistaking it. And Deku would say, it's alright, it's your fault, you still got your old school conduct on your brain. Like mine. Because I'm going to say back in Deku's school, like, they didn't have a school uniform, so you could just wear normal clothing. Deku almost wore normal clothes to school, but, his mom reminded him, like, you did put your school uniform on, and Deku went back and changed. Also, Deku does have fingerless gloves on. I don't know why I like giving Deku fingerless gloves, I just think it looks cool. Plus, I think fingerless gloves are warm, like, I want to buy them. Because, like, the palm of my hands get cold, but my fingers are never really cold, and I don't know why. So I want to buy those and just, like, have them. Don't ask me why, I just think that way. So, Aizawa, he'd do his whole thing, quirk assessment time, and, he'd start talking. And tell everyone to shut up, and, person in last gets expelled. And, we'd go on to the quirk assessment. Deku would throw the ball first, and Bakugo was like, please, he can't do anything without that mech of his. And Deku just looked at Bakugo and was like, oh yeah, hey, he'd say, oh yeah, hey, he's about to say Kanchan, but he'd correct himself and he'd say, hey Katsuki, I discovered something new about my quirk. He'd go to one full count 20%, and he'd whip that mother. He'd whip that thing. Like, that thing goes 10,000 meters. And he'd show everyone the phone. And they'd be like, how are we meant to beat that? And Bakugo would be like, shitty Deku, how dare you be stronger than me? Charge at him, explosions going, and he'd get stopped by Aizawa. He'd be like, don't worry. And as he'd walking by Katsuki, he'd tap him on the cheek, like, how some people would do, like, insultingly, and say, don't worry, Katsuki. It was only bound to happen for you to become second best. And Bakugo is pissed. I almost called him Kanchan again. Bakugo is pissed. Because not only is Deku looking down on him, Deku's saying he's weaker than him. And Deku ain't wrong. So yeah. Minato gets last in the whole thing, and as I would say, Minato. How the hell you pronounce his name? First name. Minato, pack your bags. You're expelled. And Momo would say, wait, you were serious about that? He's like, yes, I'm always serious. So then you'd get the person who got the highest score during the quirk assessment test in Class 1B, who was Kendo. So Kendo is now in Class 1A. That's right, Minato's gone. He'll be back, though. Trust me. He's like a cockroach. Well, Principal Nezu's like, Aizawa, you can't really expel people, but I'll meet you halfway and you can pick someone for Class 1B to move to Class 1A. So, Kendo and Minato switch. Minato's like second to last from Class 1B. Cat, can you stop? I'm sorry about that, guys. My cat was being, like, dumb. So, Kendo would introduce herself and say, I hope we can all be friends. And she'd take a seat next to Deku. Because, Deku's just chilling there. Like, he's just, like, waiting for class to start. And Deku, he always is looking at the core as well. Whenever nothing's going on. And Kendo, she'd kind of ask him what's it about. He explained it's just something that his family has passed down from, from generation to generation. He goes back to like 1980. He goes back to like 1922, when actually it was like way before the time of any before the dinosaurs, basically. But that thing's killed the dinosaur. It did. One of Deku's descendants used it to cut out his way out of a T-Rex's stomach, so it killed a dinosaur. How many people can say, oh yeah, like, if Deku wanted to tell people the truth about the Spiral Core and Gurren Lagann, he could so brag about that thing being used to kill a dinosaur. Like, Deku can see every one of his family members who's used it as well for different purposes. And Deku was like, one of my family descendants killed a T-Rex with this thing. So, if the truth ever does come out and Bakugo starts making fun of him for not having a quote, for not, like before he got 1-4 for not having a cook, he'd be like, yeah, but one of my family members killed a T-Rex, so you can't really say nothing about that. And that just shut Bakugo up. And it would have, too. Like, if you got something that your family used to kill a T-Rex with, you got all bragging rights to that. Because you literally know, because you're literally a descendant of someone that killed a T-Rex. So, like, you need to shut the hell up. Moving on. So, All Might would bust through the door and he'd do his I am here thing. He'd say heroes versus villains. I'm going to change up the teams a bit here. So it's Kendo and Deku versus Bakugo and Kirishima. And Deku's got his whole outfit on, It basically looks like his normal street clothes. Only he's got his glasses on. And his glasses do cover up his eyes. Like, you can't see through them, but Deku can see through them. Like, you don't think you can see through them, but you can. The glasses are red. Like Simone's, only they don't look like Simone's. Because Simone's glasses are a little too spiky for me. Kamina's I can deal with. So, Deku uses Gurren Lagann to punch multiple holes in the building. Like, since it's an abandoned building and there's a bomb there that can wipe out the save block, as All Might said, heroes are meant to do anything necessary to save those people. So, Deku, he punches multiple holes in the building to kind of throw Katsuki and Kirishima off. I almost called him Kanchan again. Why am I calling Bakugo Kanchan? Like, I hate Bakugo most of the time. Why am I calling him this? Oh, God. My allergies are really screwing me over. But anyways. Then Deku would exit out. Like, Deku also has a sniper, like, in Gurren Lagann, but he has his pistols on the side, usually. Which are covered by... No, it does not on the sides. They're, like, kind of on the... If you guys have played Assassin's Creed 4 or 3, and you know how Connor's pistols are kind of on the back, where you can't really see them, like, they're covered up by the coat. So, Deku, he would enter through one place, Kendo would enter through another. Deku and Bakugo would fight. Deku would win. He'd meet up with Kendo. He'd shoot Kirishima with a rubber bullet, which would knock him out. Kendo touches the bomb. All Might declares heroes wins. Bakugo's pissed, and he hates it. Moving on to, UA thing. So, but yeah. First, I'm going to put this low in here. So, as Deku's walking up the stairs to go to Gurren Lagann, well, he exits out through the door they entered after the hero versus villains. Kendo would follow him and say, "Where are you going?" He'd be like, "To Gurren Lagann." Kendo would follow him because she's worried he's up to mischief, doing quit because he's wearing that coat still. Like, that's like the coat and the glasses are the only two things that he doesn't leave in the case. And the gloves. Kendo would follow him to Gurren Lagann, and he'd hop in Gurren Lagann. And he'd ask Kendo if she would like a ride to her place. Because, it's after school, and I'm going to say Deku decided to stay back and talk to the shovel head guy and the support class teacher. Ask him if he could, kind of help him make a place here that he could work on Gurren Lagann when he needs repairs. Because it's hard to do at his house, especially with the tools he has on hand. And he'd say, yeah, sure. Because he'd say he wanted to see how Gurren Lagann works himself. And so Deku was after school, Cementos helped build the hangar for Gurren Lagann, so, Deku doesn't have to leave it on the roof either. Principal Nezu allowed this as well. So, yeah. So, Kendo would be like, yeah, sure. Why not? Because I'm going to say she had like a club activity or something. I don't know. You guys think of a club. So Deku, he'd put Gurren Lagann's hand down and, bring it up to the head. He'd be like, hop in. Kendo would be like, what? He'd be like, Deku knows about the secondary cockpit, but he doesn't want her to accidentally screw up the flying by touching one of the things because, he's worried about curiosity getting to her. Deku's got a worried side to him, but plus he just really doesn't like people sitting down there because, that's where Kamina sat. The only reason Simone didn't mind was because, if it's because Simone was at war. So yeah, I'm pretty sure if Simone wasn't at war, he would not have let anyone sit there. Unless it was Yoko, because, Yoko and Kamino were kind of a thing. Again, the spoiler. Why didn't I say that first? Damn it! I suck at doing spoiler warnings. Like, my God, that's something I'll get better at. I promise. Anyways, moving on. So, as Deku's flying Kendo home, Kendo's sitting there, nervous as hell. Because, she's kind of sitting on his lap. Deku's calm as hell, by the way. Because, confidence of Kamina, Simone, and everyone else who's piloted the Teppen Turbin Gurren Lagann. Like, if I went through and counted how many people actually helped pilot that damn thing, it's probably like 20 or 30 people that was piloting it. So, yeah. Kind of know that. So he's got, all of them, a majority of them were men. I think there was 4 or 5 girls in there. So yeah. He has the confidence of 28, 25, 24 men. So yeah. Expect that. So he's chill as hell. And she's blushing a bit because, again, she's kind of just sitting on this random stranger's lap. And Deku would say, so, what's your quirk exactly? She'd say, oh, well, I can enlarge my hands. And Deku would be like, that's cool. Have you ever tried, enlarging anything else? Like your foot or, your arms? Trying to make anything else bigger. Or trying to increase the size of them past their, usual point. And Kendo would say, I never thought of that. Deku would be like, well, your quirk is similar to Mount Lady's quirk. Now, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but this is going to be canon in my What If Deku thing. This isn't canon, guys, So, But in this what if Deku universe, this is canon. So, and Kendo would say, well, Mount Lady is my mother. I'm going to say Mount Lady's been around a little longer than usual. So he'd be like, oh, okay. And Deku would be like, alright, so that is understandable. So Deku will obviously, he land at in the backyard of their house, which is pretty big. Mount Lady would rush out and grab Gurren Lagann, and she'd say, "What are you doing here, villain?" And Deku would say, "I'm not a villain. I'm just here dropping your daughter off." And she'd be like, "What?" And Kendo would come out of the canopy of the head, and she'd say, "Mom, drop him, Gurren Lagann and him." Well, you know what I mean. Deku can feel the pain of Gurren Lagann, so Deku is getting hurt a little bit. So, Kendo will explain everything to his mom as Deku would leave. And Mount Lei would be like, oh, okay. And Mount Lei would say how your first day of school went, and she'd say good. And Mount Lei would notice Kendo was blushing a bit, and she'd be like, so, you like that boy, don't you? And she'd be like, wait, no. And, would run up to her room and say, forget it. And Deku, he'd arrive home and be like, I'm home. And I'm gonna say, as Deku got home, so, as Deku got home, he'd go to his room, and he'd kind of just sit there and start thinking of different moves, and of ways to help himself and his classmates get better. He would focus on Bakugo last. Kind of figure out, how to make this quirk stronger and more special, and help him think of special moves. Because he did get to see everyone's quirk in action, so he wrote this down in his journal, and he's kind of thinking of ways they can use their quirks. Because Deku, he's thinking, if they want, I can help them out. I'll ask them, if they're having trouble, if they would like some help. And, Deku would come up with all these different ways. And Kendo would try becoming bigger. And I'm going to say she can become 3 feet taller, and she can hold it for 5 minutes. She can't become as big as Mount Lady yet, and she can't hold it for however long Mount Lady can hold hers, so But Deku got Kendo thinking maybe she should try different things. And, Deku comes into school the next day, and they'd be talking about what their thing is, what they're going to be doing for the next, training exercise. And Aizawa would say, alright, grab your things, we're going to the USJ. And Deku would Deku would walk away from the bus after he walks outside, and he'd start walking towards Gurren Lagann's hangar. The rest of the class would be about to ask him what's he doing, and Mr. Aizawa would point out he's going to get Gurren Lagann. And the class would be like, okay. Aizawa would tell Deku where the USJ is, and Deku would fly off. So Deku, his weighing inside the USJ was 13. And as they're weighing 13, he'd ask 13, what are they going to be doing today? And she'd explain rescue training. He'd be like, oh, okay. And 13 would say that Gurren Lagann, besides using it to fight bigger enemies, can also be used to help save people. And, Deku would be like, yeah, I know, because Gurren Lagann's pretty useful. So the rest of the class shows up. 13 would do her whole speech, and then then Kirigiri would open the portals, and Shigaraki and all the villains would step out in the Nomu. And, you know, some of the villains would immediately become scared of Gurren Lagann. And Shigaraki would tell the Nomu to attack Gurren Lagann, and Deku would just punch it and send it flying. Aizawa would say Deku Midoriya handle, that thing because it seems to be attacking him. And Deku is handling it surprisingly well. And, Shigaraki would say it has shock absorption doing his whole speech. And Aizawa would say that thing's not human, so don't hold back. Because, doesn't look human. And after Deku heard it's not human, Deku grabbed the drill and drilled that thing. Like, it's dead. It ain't regenerating from being drilled into 1,000 pieces. And while that was going on, Kirigiri did, teleport everyone to different ranges. And, Aizawa is busy fighting everyone. I'm gonna say Kendo and Floppy got stuck on the ship, and Deku flew over to the ship after defeating the Nomu to grab those two. And, he flew around, collected everyone, and then they would help Aizawa with, fighting the villains. I'm gonna say that Shigaraki was about to kill Aizawa with his quirk, but Deku shoots Shigaraki's hand. And rubber bullets, I don't know how bad they hurt, but my guess is they're pretty bad. So Deku would shoot Shigaraki in the hand with one of the bullets from his sniper, and he'd flinch back and move back, and Aizawa would kick Shigaraki further back. And the students would start taking out more villains, and Deku, he would be sitting in Gurren Lagann, kind of, holding back, some of the villains. Like, he just pick them up and just, hold them in a cage. So anyone that defeated the villain, he would hold it in a cage. Like, his hands would be in, this cage thing where no one could escape. So, that's always fun. So, Kirigiri teleports Shigaraki out of there with himself, and villains are captured. Police arrive to grab the villains. Deku lets them out one at a time to be captured. And, goes about his day. The Nomu is scraped off. The dead Nomu is scraped out of the hole that Deku drilled it into. And the police would be about to say, well, you're under arrest, but Aizawa would say that thing wasn't human, and I gave Deku the order to, he'd say Midoriya to kill it. Police would just say never mind and go away. And 13 didn't get hurt, so she's fine. Everyone's okay. And Deku would go about his day after getting back to the school. Kendo and Deku would talk during lunch because, they're kind of becoming friends. And, Deku's just kind of not as shaken as everyone else, so she's kind of asking him why he isn't as shaken. And he'd say, well, this is really my first time fighting a villain. And he kind of explained the middle school thing. And I'm going to say, at the end of the school, after Deku's done doing work on Gurren Lagann with the teacher, sport class teacher, Kendo would ask Deku for a ride home again, and he'd say sure, and she'd give her a ride home, and they'd kind of bond. Yeah, I'll call it here. So I'm gonna call this part here, guys. It's gone on for long enough, I'd say. I usually try to do them to an hour at least. So yeah, if you guys have enjoyed the video, hit the like button. Why I say like and then say hit the like button, I don't know. Subscribe, because a lot of you guys that watch my videos are not subscribed. And thank you so much for the support on my what ifs. And join the Discord. I do have my own Discord, so link to that will be in the description down below, along with my Instagram at Renegade Viking. So, yeah, I will see you all in the next one.